Hello and welcome back to a new video and my face. If you're wondering on why the last few videos on the channel have been video essays, I had to get rid of a few problems off the top of my head. Quite literally. Today we're talking about a game that nobody has ever heard about, a game that barely anyone plays. Now, even though the game was released 3 years ago, which is relatively old, I want to talk about a few things that the game has done from a marketing perspective that were very interesting to me. It changed the face of how video games were marketed in the market. So stick to the end of this one, it's going to be very, very interesting. Timestamps on your screen and bombs away. Now, before we get into the specifics of what Fortnite and all the video games today are doing, let's first understand how a basic marketing funnel works. Every marketing funnel has quite a lot of phases, but to dumb it down in digestible, simple formats, we have the awareness phase, which loosely translates to ads that your ears have to take to the point where it starts to bleed. You know what I'm talking about. We all do.
I see who you are my enemy. Pretty cool song. I wonder if it's available on Spotify.
Watch this short video to get 30 minutes of uninterrupted listening.
Okay, yeah, cool. I can wait. Mood lighting set thee. His favorite dish was also ready. But जैसे ही Spotify playlist on करी, ad आ गई. Me and the band have known each other for months. When we go on tour, it's an adventure. And we like to go in style. We don't need the internet, just the road, the music, and my best friends. Then we get home, and it's back to reality.
Enjoy the next 30
We have the consideration phase, which is you considering buying the product that is being sold to you. Now, what is the product? I don't know. Could be anything. How about a tissue paper to wipe all the blood from all the listening that you've been doing on Spotify ads? Then we have conversion, and then we have retention, which loosely translates to, I don't know, guys. I don't have a comedy line for this. I'm just not that talented yet. But do you? Now, the goal of every marketing campaign is to, of course, make a lot of noise during the product launch. That's like sort of a given. But one thing that is hugely underrated, at least in my opinion, is this concept of sustaining your launch. Yes, you spend a lot of money on a huge ass launch, but we need to be asking a couple of questions post the launch. And this is a phase that I feel that a lot of products and services fail, in that they think that the bigger the launch, the more customers that they're going to pull in. But Fortnite has proved this theory wrong in a very interesting way. Fortnite, unlike its competitors, didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have the money that all of these big reputed games have, like Call of Duty and all of those guys. Even though their launch was pretty small, as you can see from this graph, what they did was, instead of one big launch, they split their launches into mini launches over time. Now, how did they do that? These mini launches would happen consistently over a period of 10 weeks. The story would change, new character updates, new gun skins, new maps that players could play on. So instead of one big launch, instead of putting all of their money on one big huge ass launch, they split it. The product had substantial developments over this 10-week cycle, and these changes and these updates were relatively big enough to be spoken about in the market. So instead of their relevance in the market going like this, it started to go like this. And it remains like that still to this day. And if you can all agree that the bigger purpose of marketing is to sustain your product over longer periods of time, I don't think it gets better than this. Now, I know what you marketers are thinking. Anirudh, it's a game. It's after all a game. Nobody cares. We are trying to market real world problems here that solve real problems. Dude, have you talked to anyone who owns a Tesla? Every time that damn thing gets an update, I have to go to lengths and threaten them with physical violence to make them shut up about it. Oh, but Anirudh, it drives itself. How cool is that? What are you doing if it drives itself? Are you figuring out a way to go to Mars? Is that why you purchased his product? Are you planning on helping Elon? Maybe have fewer drinks and you can drive yourself home, huh? It's a $37,000 car. I can go buy it if I wanted it right now.
Credit card bills.
I'll take that back. Now, everyone in some definition of the other have their own definition of what marketing is. But my definition of marketing varies slightly from the norm. Marketing is not the process of reaching a product or service to the people, but it's rather the creation of assets that puts the product or service in front of those people in the long term. And so by this definition, your target or your end goal is to not go after the people who want to use your product or service, but it's rather to create assets that puts the people in front of your product or service. Does that make sense? Now, assets can be any form of content, can be written blog posts, can be video, can be podcasts, can be a video like this. It can be any form of content. But what did Fortnite do? They have two main rock solid pillar assets that they've put in place. Streamers are their biggest pawns. Remember the periodic updates we talked about? Now, every time there's an update, it gives these streamers a reason to talk about the game. Some people react to the new changes, some people talk about the new changes, some people podcast about the new changes, and some professional gamers, the really good ones, have a formal contract with these gaming agencies so that they can get early access to all of these changes and create the buzz that the game is looking for. Buzz, a term that is used 658 times in the advertising and marketing industry on a half day. It's kind of like tech reviewers talking about a piece of tech, but here people actually know what they're talking about. And mind you, these streamers who are on contract are chosen on the basis of age, gender, race, where they're living, so that they can cover all grounds without any hassle. Now, this is something that I am personally in love with, and I plead guilty that I've fallen victim to this multiple number of times in a game that I play called Valorant. Now, traditionally, we are told that marketing should target a set of specific audience, like what is your TG, what is your demography, what is your age. All of those factors really matter. But in some cases, it's extremely healthy to break this approach if it makes sense. Now, ideally, if you consider Fortnite or any gaming that is in the market right now, who's your target audience? It's either gamers who game sporadically, or it's all of these professional and regular players, right? But Fortnite set the tone, and all of these games have a dedicated section to non-gamers today, players who don't play games. And I think it's pretty safe to say that by having this strategy in place, they've reached more people than they could ever imagine. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. Now, in the game that I play called Valorant, each character has its own voice lines, their own ethnicity, their own background, where they're coming from, what is their nationality, and the accents, and all of that is thoroughly professionally done, so that each character has that exclusive touch. And I found myself multiple times when I'm out with my friends socially, I actually turn into this character, I actually do the voice lines, and we just have a lot of fun with it, and time just passes by. Now, if I can do this, if I, a mediocre creator, can do this, think about what this can do for professional entertainers, professional voice actors, professional impressionists. Impressionists, is that the word? Anyways, now you could do it this way, or you can do what Fortnite did by having dance moves, by having the floss. Now, this floss trended to an extent that it brought in millions and millions and millions of views. It even made it to talk shows where they wanted content because the hosts were unfunny. What's up, Jimmy Fallon? But all I'm saying is, all of these are transferable elements from the game to real life that you can incorporate right now if you start playing, to a point that you become a spokesperson and a custodian for the product. Now, this is kind of a given, but I'm going to run through it anyway. If you're a gaming company today, and if you charge for the product upfront, then you're in a lot of trouble, because a lot of these games are freemium. They have a freemium model. A child can be going on a bus ride, and they could overhear someone talking about a game that they recently played, and this child gets inspired and wants to download the game right away. And inspiration is perishable, and humans tend to act on it immediately. Now, if you charge something upfront, the odds of conversion are less. The initial investment feels like a burden, as opposed to having something for free and then luring in money through microtransactions, through game skins and all of that. It's kind of basic, not rocket science. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I had a ball creating this. Why can't you just say a word? Launch. It's a simple word. I hope you had a good time watching and learned a thing or two on the way. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.